Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Thank you.
Are you staying warm?
Stay warm. Trying to anyway.
That's crazy.
I know. Very cold.
I figured people were gonna get up early because of parking and they would want to walk.
Either that, they're just gonna go on here. I don't know what the other.
I could be, you could end up with a very small crowd.
Yes, that's fine with me. I don't think do like long meetings either, do they?
Quiet to the point.
Yeah, it's kind of like, let's get this over with and get out of here now.
It's all about the preparation, and so.
Well, yeah, you see, well, you're probably learning firsthand what I go through every
I see
Friday.
it. Oh, I know. It's a lot of work. I know the effort to put stuff together, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and my goal is to get all of this finalized by Thursday. So all I have to come in here and that Friday to do is get the packets ready and post things to the website and go home. That's my goal, but we'll see.
When we sat in, Sean and I sat in, the department head meeting earlier, and that was not good to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got here late, I wasn't able to, I had some stuff to do when I got here, so I'm like, you know what?
It was good to just, hear their, just them report on stuff, and it was actually good. Of course, the
Yeah.
chief was out, so the captain was here.
I mean, you kind of know what I do, so all I gotta do is come to my office, I'll talk to you, I mean, you know. I don't feel the need to sit here, you know.
You're an open book and
I'm
a
like an
closed,
open book, like, look at you, say, hey, Eric, you wanna talk, you
open
know?
book and a closed book.
Yeah, I'm good.
We also went through the bill list too, which that's educational in itself.
Yeah, I used to do those.
Well, and from this perspective, my perspective, it's like, it's great to get the granularity and understand all the background of what the things are. But at some point, it's like, okay, raise it up a little bit because it's just about, are we within budgets? Are we tracking the way we should?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and that's really, but I know some people come in, they're just,
Yeah, you know what, but we really are. It's, I mean, if we were like that bad, don't you think the state would have come down on us a long time ago?
yes.
The state's crazy. I mean, they will come at you. I mean, they have no fear.
Right, no, and it's, it's,
In fact,
Just-
in fact, clerks have to answer to the state. I have to answer to the state before I answer to you.
it's, and I think people don't understand municipal government. I mean, I had a good general understanding.
Yeah.
Because they were often, clients or stakeholders in what I did, but I don't think people really understand what it takes to do what everybody does.
No, they don't.
And it just like people don't understand, they turn their water on, how does the water come out of the faucet?
Mhm.
They don't understand government, how it works.
No, it's not
they don't
something,
want to.
it's a lot to absorb.
And they shouldn't have to know all the details.
No, of course not. No.
But, it's, I don't even know if they teach it anymore in school. They teach government.
Civics, remember civics? Yeah, I remember civics. I took that. I mean, we had to.
Right? No, it was a required course.
That was like part of your middle school,
That's one high school, yeah. So,
I remember it.
yeah, it's an interesting.
It is, it's very complex.
The process of it all is really interesting, how things get done.
Yes.
And why government takes time.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing. All right, we'll
Get organized.
get organized here.
Nice to be the first one here. I should, right? Well, it was just that, with the weather, I was like, either no one's gonna be here, or everybody's gonna take parking. Oh, and I ended up, I drove today. All weather to keep some people. Yeah. What'd you say?
How you doing? Fantastic.
How you doing? Good, how are you?
I'm Tim.
You're
How are you? Very cool. Tim's our new construction official.
capital the Senate and it's all water, and that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah, and having this funky experiment. And it was actually.
Are you the architect engineer?
Muller, right?
Mueller.
Mueller.
Yes.
What's it again?
Boston.
Boston.
Oh, I was gonna say, so ask me a
Yeah.
question.
I'm a civil engineer by education and license.
Okay.
But,
Very good.
Sure.
I'll be looking on.
Oh, yes.
That's
That's how I know things. Oh, Mike's a great guy.
He's tremendous. He comes by coffee, so we're in.
He stops and visits me all the time too.
And he not called me, hey, I didn't see you through the window, are you home? Yeah, okay, I'm stopping for coffee.
Did you know that he's a big game hunter?
And we sent back, he went to Mexico for a week last week.
Or this picture that is unbelievable.
The bear, or
The bear.
the bear in his office.
Yeah.
He's a good building. Hey, how are you? Good.
That's good. What was the size of the red this bear? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy. So I would like to start it and it's about, I'm not going to do this. I can quote, say, we're having. So, trying to do all of it, it's just. So well, it's like cold, but first, you know, he said, no, side extended it in June, because next year. Oh, that's yeah, no, good, good.
Well,
But that's what I've been doing. And I just wanted to see where
hey, Jane, how are you? Good. You? Yes, let me see. What's it? I wrote it down because I wouldn't forget it. Oh, how do people sign up for the reverse time longer?
We did that,
I believe they have to go through the police department for that, or, okay. So is there like a clean? Find me here tonight. Yeah. I think it's more than that. If I remember correctly. Yeah. You're not reverse time. They said we should notify them. No, we're not notified. Exactly. Right, I know. If I remember this correctly, there is some form, because I remember. They just have to fill it out, get it over to OEM, and then it's. I know it is. You get put it automatically then. Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you. No problem. Yeah. How are you? No news this. Great job. Thank you. Okay, there were a couple of typos on my resolutions though, but you have them, they're up there. Okay. And there's a silly stuff, it wasn't even ones that I did. No, he's gonna tune in, but he's not gonna be here because. Yeah, right. So wait, he's gonna tune in, does that mean that he's gonna kind of? No, he's gonna be there if we have questions, so he'll be on Zoom. Does he have? He has chills and a cough. And last night, so I'm like, yeah.
And it's the same symptoms.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it seems like everybody talked.
I know.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I think.
Okay, where was I? So, like this.
Engineering, engineering, I just have a. I was shocked. That we don't do.
See, they gotta work on my knee. Oh.
Yeah, well, Pam's, I see Pam's here.
Yes.
I got it organized here. Start with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't have my notes from my.
Yeah.
I know, he's doing so good.
I know, it's not maybe in Zoom, but.
He's gonna zoom in too, but he's gonna be kind of on the sidelines if we have any questions for him. No. Yeah.
Yes. Also. It's lonely down here all by myself. I have nobody to answer.
Out here on the lake.
So you guys know we're having.
You doing?
I spent, well. Not half that weekend, but some portion.
All right.
And then the other half.
That's okay.
Oh.
Awesome. Flying.
People got their ear.
Like.
Well, I mean,
This is beyond that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full back.
You know, it's probably nice.
So you know the play.
Yeah, yeah. In a quiet, dark place.
All right, look at this gear I got.
It's working. I just put one of those.
What's that?
Yes, but I don't use all the technology.
Actually.
I'm just feeling, no.
Hey, how are you? Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
And that's something you know.
Yeah, that's fine, you know, 104. Yeah.
You got more fun.
No, I don't. Doing well.
Good. I'll see you next week in more.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought you just wanted to hide the first conversation. I tried to say it that way. I tried.
Saturday.
Just no turn.
That is so much fun.
Wait, six.
Oh, good.
What was it? Probably tomorrow.
That's good, okay.
And then also. Erica, any meeting or changes in the agenda, so wrote notes on my version.
Yeah, it's just one resolution, 68, and I put in the whole title instead of what I originally.
Okay, but it's all basically the same.
Yeah.
You didn't invite me. I couldn't open it for something.
That's all right.
I did get it. Yeah.
That's gotta be. My mom.
It's that. I'm taking over. It's share.
Years ago. I goes over.
Town, you're signing.
I know, when I go in.
So I just shared it with the stream again.
Hi, how are you?
You changed.
I did.
I kept my sneakers on. I didn't want to slip.
So, no break in yet. Hello, Captain.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get a sticker today.
Yes. It's like, it's just so that.
So I know it.
And so I didn't realize.
Like you can be.
Oh.
It was mind swelling.
Say that one.
You know, so I don't like, you don't, you know. I was like, oh, I did the right thing. And I got me.
But I went and I did it, like I was looking at the black and white Lucy and stuff, I was like, I gotta.
Yeah.
This is 6:30, so we should probably start.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce that the 48-hour notice required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Coast Star, and the New Coaster on December the 19th of 2024. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason the Zoom portion of this meeting fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue and action can and will be taken provided that there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble?
Here.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Here.
Mr. Nowicki?
Here.
Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Here.
So you see that Al is on the Zoom because he's not feeling well. So rather than come in and make us all sick, he's going to be on the Zoom this evening and I will be filling in. You might also notice a new sign. The Borough of Bradley Beach proudly serves you, our residents. That was compliments of our new mayor, Al Gubatosi, and that's what we do. We serve the residents. And also serving the residents besides the mayor and council is our business administrator, Matt Doherty. And also we have our captain here this evening, Terry Browning. Thank you very much for being here. We do have to start with an executive session first. We have our professionals here and we have to talk about a resolution that is later in the meeting, but we have to talk it before we do it. So we're going to go into executive session first, and then we'll come out and we'll commence with the regular meeting. So I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session.
Ask a question,
Yes?
we go into executive session without an attorney?
Probably not, but I think he could call in, or is he on his way?
I have no idea. Well, we should find out.
Is he on his way?
They'll be called. There'll be one on the phone.
Oh, he'll be on the phone.
I mean, we have different attorneys for the one part, it's the other part, though.
I think,
Borough
well,
attorney, I don't know, but
Okay.
we'll have an attorney.
okay.
Very wise.
Jane, I think we could begin with the fair share housing.
I believe you're correct, yes. So we have Ron here, which is great.
Because that, see.
Oh, and also joining us, is-
You.
Greg Cannon, who also proudly serves the residents of Bradley Beach. Hello, Mr. Cannon. We're just about to go into executive session.
Sounds good.
Just take off your coat, catch your breath,
Thank you.
have a drink.
I interrupted the roll call on that, so.
That's okay. Okay, so do I have a second?
Second,
Mr. Noble,
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi.
He's muted.
on mute.
Al,
You're muted out.
He's saying, thumbs up
okay,
for here.
all right. good enough for me.
Hopefully this will be half an hour, but we'll try and do it as quickly as possible.
There's 3 topics to cover, so
I know we have 3 different subjects to cover, so
yeah,
hopefully it'll talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I know, I just. Yeah, me too. Yeah. All right.
Yes. Oh, sure, let me just.
this is Denver, I am construction.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, okay, great. Me too. That's great. I think it'll make a difference. Yes. Much why there's more in the, there's more in the computer. Yes.
Can you guys hear us through this audio?
No.
No.
Okay, good. Cool. Good, no, because Al, you have to get off the Zoom because he thought he was hearing us. Now they just locked me out.
If, I can't hear, I'm giving my best. Well, I've been acting construction, but, I have to get a couple weeks notice. Probably middle of February.
Seven o'clock.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Too small. That's all.
It'll be really good next time around.
I think it's
In the absence of code enforcement officer.
too small.
Let Tim do it. Calm down, really fast.
Yeah, and get questions out there.
Research them. They stay with their.
I've got reservations.
For that 2 weeks. Really? On that. Okay. So that they learn.
It's done. It's like- it's like- But I mean. Yeah, it didn't go too well. Right. First thing they do, use a $2,000 violation, work without. Then you'll lower it to 5. Now you do something else, it's less. And I see you should do 5. That's Oh, sure. See, so if you just completed your second year. So, really didn't get inspected. Right around September. So this is my problem. I don't know how it works here, but even how often are you gonna build for your fire? Yearly or is it right? Well, Okay, I'm hearing a lot of that. So that's what I'm going to. That's what I'm going to. So I do have. Well, I guess that's all we're doing now. Your state inspection, your 5-year cyclical. State. And another 2 years. This is for business or? It's okay. When was the last time you had a good system? They've been pretty good, and I had, well, you probably. He's good. When they set out, they did a little change. Yeah, and you know, so they pretty much stay up. When I go in, I'm not gonna stick it.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Yeah. Supposed to be.
Yes, that was.
And it's supposed to be service here. Yes. And so it just did a service. And I, it was funny, I never realized that little cases that. The inspector. So you guys. You're talking about the fusible lake. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's changing. Yeah. A lot of times they'll leave it, they have your post station for it, and it's tagged. A lot of times they'll wrap the oval right on the sticker, right on the tag, so by you can see, oh, oh, okay. A lot of stuff you can go for it. Investigative stuff. Well, hey, I'm all about it, because my lease actually says it has to be seen. You know, I think my lease says everything. Okay, that's even better. So, Cause you don't wanna, that's where fires start, you know, and that stuff has to work.
Yeah,
It's just because.
about 2 years ago,
Right.
because it was Belgium.
Oh,
And so that's all over.
Right.
I said, "We're not built this, and I feel bad. Before you open. I'll pay for the taxes. Oh, that thing goes on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know, the bill, so it actually sounds great. Yeah, and we, well,
Grease trapper.
yes, we do, so.
Did you get a grease trapper one go over to? I know you're on it.
I have not. When I bought the building, this is a funny story, so I just the building, grease trap was as big as a shoebox. That's how big. Come to find out, nobody else had. So, when we first kind of moved out, biggest one. And I actually just replaced that one 2 years ago. And the previous guy. They were. It's better. So I just need then I put in the new vision. He said, "Well, so much the sewage that comes, it gets worse." I tell you what, I didn't see sewer maps that were, oh, we don't have the sewer maps. Really? You don't have sewer. I'm on the corner, you're right again. The sewer line ran these sideways. So it was dead. And there was no sewer. So they couldn't shoot. So they put the one down there. And they shoot this way. And they go in the building.
oh my God.
And the door just on the outside now. And then shoot it down to me. I finally had it. I heard it. And I know Mark Foster, he's a big sewer guy. This is ridiculous. It's illegal. You have, and it's dead man, why has that? So. We feel like this. One part, Fourth Avenue, he goes, look at this thing, this is like the Mississippi River. So we started over there. And. And they go, oh, you gotta pay the tap fee. I mean, I gotta pay the fee. No, you're tapping over. I already own it. And charging me for another tap. And I have had. I remember that. Zero. I have a service contract once a year. So I never.
Very happy.
Serious.
It must be on the town.
Oh, there.
My son's birthday, no,
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So I got a text message from Bob Napoli.
Yeah, no.
You know, they're talking right now to the most important man in Bradley Beach, both politically and the smartest guy I know. Ask him if he knows me. Fire company.
He's been doing new ones, I bought the building. And, he's been we didn't know.
You're like 20, 30.
He's been doing it ever since. He did my retrofit, from analog to digital. He's done a nice job over here.
Oh, good. It's hard to say,
Yes, so it's my.
Well, yes, I can imagine. We have a, my brother. Then or two went to the years old, then they tours and things.
Yeah, it's true. It's that right there. It's. There. But this owl is on right here. That's called the owl. So it goes to voice recognition. And spins around. So it's probably watching more. It's funny. It's the way the ordinance is. The question is, what's the? Is that everything?
Shirts on today.
Last year we went.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, right. And my mom would always. One thing you don't worry about.
It either has to be.
That would have to.
You know how I found out about that law? Someone else did. And I just. Because I saw it in the hour. There's real days on it, you're not calculating. I called her, I said, yeah.
Yeah. I have to tell you.
I know it was a minute, but he comes down.
Either one.
So, I mean, not that anyone knows this, but it is.
Yeah.
So that's just.
Each time you change that, you have to write it back.
Technically,
Yeah.
Except in the summer.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I also.
So.
Yeah.
We have two guys, I'm working 5 days a week. I don't know what that's for.
Culture, yeah. It was a desire to talk and share.
Yeah. So that you might avoid a little time. And then we're there for a week, every vacation, and then we go back, and then we get home. And then in September, we finally get around to like that.
Yeah.
All that together required on the first. Hardware.
That's pretty much. So it's not. Not as built. Yeah.
No, it's all.
Yeah, now upgrade. Yeah, 25% more.
So you like it?
So when it's done, the whole. One of the apartments.
Yeah.
Little board. It was pretty nice. Yeah. Especially. Put those in the apartments.
Waiting for good out, right?
And you. And you start.
Nine volt game or something. To go up there and get it, whatever else they well, people, I think the radio is for my.
Then I'm like, I'll be there. Yeah, I've been to one of those. Which is. It's built onto. So. Put them in there. But it is in New York City.
With the wild, so they had a.
That's part of the explosion.
Those little scooter things. Never worried about it. Holding it.
Yeah, they call it thermal running.
Because Charles was burning leaves about the outside. Well, it's spread quickly because the Eastern is already.
You know. Well, yeah. He's in short. It's like. And he reported he's back to the church. No, he's not.
It's so funny. when you walk dogs, the city goes back and you see right this over there. Yeah, right. So now it's all. It's wild, it's just a little, it's just a different look, you know, the city, just. Yeah, and a different sound, yeah. They do say that it's an issue in clubs.
Like, did you have? I'll have to look into it, I'm sure.
But the. It's ventilation didn't work.
Oh, that's,
The errors. There's first story.
Okay.
You know, you should have made it.
Yeah.
He's also.
Well, we're gonna work to make sure that all this stuff doesn't happen.
Somewhere. Because I know. Right after that, they retrofitted a lot of buildings for.
There's a few fires like that, where Kingsburg or some host fire, the great vegetable fire. That pretty much started the fire back then. It's treated, it's treated with some kind of stuff that is not.
Like, for example, that's good in a fire.
I wouldn't go that far, but it is a good insulator. That's the only way that some of these houses. Because they're code compliant with that.
Yeah.
The other thing I read about that, they make these houses stone type.
The Ron Howard.
Yeah.
See that.
Great.
Yes.
You can't.
Well, there was little things.
Oh, I know that, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, the balloon thing is just bad.
Well, yeah, we were just saying we have to pay for it, but it still is.
Fire starting in the basement, we just go right.
That's how you fight that fire. First lines to the basement, second lines to the attic, because it's already there. It's just a chimney on the outside wall.
It's actually good for a fire break. If you retrofit it over the house.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely a draft stop. It'll stop the air from going. So, I don't know what's in the boat. Everything around it. So, the house, the property is.
Yeah. And we're getting on.
Two by faces, you know, set the insulation in the wall, that's why you gotta do that.
Yeah.
The phone's expensive, so.
But what I hear, it's well worth it, the energy factor. You pay up front. Your house is like, there's no draft.
In the attic. But it's on the box.
Yeah.
Everything else was bad. So it's like, this is. You're getting your value.
Right, as long as you go front.
Yeah, and I used to do modules. Our spec was. I was there.
Like the old one.
People always talk for office.
Yeah, it's a little much.
It's good that those, you know, found where it's gone to.
Just keep it up on it, it's the hard part.
I'm sure.
Every time I think I know it, it changes. Every time.
We used to get our.
Oh,
New one.
and I brought it in. I brought it into.
Because of the environment.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, we had a. big one that- It was like 16.
But we were just reminiscing about that.
I didn't like that, smart, you know, because they didn't have it.
I can spend.
And then they replaced the whole unit.
Several days.
Yes, we just upgraded to the 410.
And I could join you this.
So now the new stuff's coming out more. And
There.
I never went to buy a car. So this will last.
And I will. But, yeah.
Either way, James.
One bed that there's.
One hand, yeah, it's an idiot and out here. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's- it's a-
You know,
last year, did it on demand. Stuff like that.
No, no.
Construction like here is.
Yeah, so people,
Honeywell makes something that exchange. We don't, I just asked my brother-in-law. Because he used to be white.
Sorry, I was waiting for you to have like a break in our conversation or interrupt it. But I thought I had my phone, but you're still talking.
No, so but what happens is it just creates a cold air in,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
it has the hot air leaving.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Let's keep it with that. Sorry. Yeah. It's on
So. Yeah, oh, thanks, yeah, they was half off the buildings. She's a little.
So we just see this time.
It's not gonna just.
They got their hands Not getting any satisfaction.
I actually, it's my content version, my app. Yeah.
So, you know, haven't seen how it's.
I take 71 lab.
You know, it's very rare. But, you know, it's like, this one.
When it's bad, then I'll take you okay? I just don't want to. I don't know what it's got it, but I should have listened there. You know, yeah, it's like.
And Bristol. Okay, well.
I know.
Yes. And there's like, check it all the time. You are pretty. But it's starting around. It's not only. It's
No, it's like so. She's got some.
So now. I have.
No.
So there was everything. You know, Chinese parts. My daughter and so Katie. I said, she's a volunteer. Now, first. I guess.
And I guess I'm.
That's the one time she had. So. It's interesting. Stays.
Again.
Yeah.
The next one you come here, just you just start. Because it's like the I'm running across. It's very well. He said, okay, everybody. Why don't you? Check it out.
I do. Yes. Pretty straightforward, like the sewing itself. The machine does most of the work, and there's like diagnostic. It's got like this numbers, like I don't understand the dynamics of how it's modeling its red source. They can like go in each direction, but like when you get the third one, it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, when we go back.
Once you're done,
Right?
Warm in there.
It wasn't bad, TJ, it was pretty close. I think it was like 35 minutes.
Okay.
But we're back. Okay. Alan's back on.
Yeah. But I'll leave a bit.
I'm sure you'll go with something.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. All right, I think we're already back in, right? We made a motion to.
Well, not.
Made a motion, so we ain't gonna make a motion.
Okay, let's make a motion that we're back to order here.
Second.
Your microphone's on.
Oh, yeah, let's turn our microphones on.
Never turn it on.
To make sure your red light's on.
Yeah, just red lights.
Hold it
Turn the,
Just
Press
hold
the
it down.
button.
But, yeah. Go on.
there you go.
Yep,
Shanna, there you go, okay.
okay. John, second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, we have presentations and bids, and we have a new interim CFO. His name is John Barrett. Hey, sure, come on up.
No round of applause. I
They're clapping already.
And that's really
Please hold your applause to the end.
I gave Jim Fredericks $10 for this, so it's. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Barrett. I am the owner of PM Consultants, and I've taken on the job of being your new interim CFO. When I met with the mayor, and in fact, your administrator, I told him very simply that I am here to help. Ideally, it would be great to have a full-time CFO. I plan on working along with the administrator and the team here to make sure that the records are in great shape. And that I will be available to you. I'd be happy to give my cell phone number to you now, but of course, Jim doesn't have it. I don't want him calling on a regular basis. Good guy. I was surprised seeing you tonight, so it was nice. I pledge to you, I don't know where things have been in the past, but this is a new day. I don't have a dog in this hunt. 2 and 2 is going to equal 4, no matter who asks the question. And whether it's being present for you for any kind of answers or questions that you might have along the budget process, my goal is to be as absolutely transparent with the finances, working with your new administrator. The team here is great. You have a lot of good players that are working here. I started out as an auditor many years ago when my wife and I started our family. My oldest is 27. I have 3 daughters, 24 and 25. In my private life, I'm a deacon over at St. Martha's Roman Catholic Church in Point Pleasant. I think a lot of what I try to do is just basically make sure that you can trust the numbers
You can trust, obviously, the message, and there's really nothing to hide. So as we move forward, if there's any questions you have, there's no stupid question. My dad was an attorney, my mother was a teacher. There was never a stupid question at the dining room table. Not a lot of people are trained in municipal finance. I'm 55, and I've been doing this since I was 27. So I kind of know what's going on. I also consulted a number of different towns and counties across the state. So I will bring whatever background I can to make Bradley Beach great. Bring their, your reputation. I follow you in CoStar. I hope not to follow you in the CoStar, because they might quote my name right. Is Mr. Kieran here today? But he also covers Spring Lake Heights communications. So do you guys have any questions for me?
Anybody, any questions?
Okay, then, I'll answer right there. It's a pleasure meeting.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, next up, we have a couple workshops. We're actually gonna table the Fifth Avenue paving. We're also going to table the resolution along with it later in the meeting. So we'll get to that later. So right now, we're going to do a quick workshop on the Verizon 5G network ordinance. I'm gonna let Councilman Nowicki take over on this one.
Thank you. So there's, what we want to talk about here is that there's, technology for cell services are changing as we, every day. Technology keeps advancing, and we have these large cell towers in town that everybody's aware of. And what this issue is really regarding is not those large towers that are 300 feet high. We're talking 100 feet high. We're talking about technology that could be mounted on a typical telephone pole. And what it is that we're anticipating, due to broadband and this change of technology continuing to evolve and come to communities, this is a proactive measure for us to be able to define what is allowed, define it so that we know where it goes, what it looks like, how tall are the poles, and where what those boxes and things positioning along the right of ways of our streets, what is permissible. So just to take a step back, the state statute requires that on roadways that we have to accommodate utilities. And the utility would include, your electric, your water, your sewer, as well as your cable service and cellular services. So no matter what we do or say, the utilities are allowed to come and put their technology in our streets, along our right of ways within our streets. So what this does is proactively defines exactly what the definitions of various components are, the poles, how tall they are, where they can be positioned. And the one very interesting thing that we've included here that we basically have taken and replicated what Spring Lake has done is be able to define our beach resource as a special resource. That basically, due to the environmental nature of that, the aesthetics of the beach, Ocean Avenue, that we are restricting within a certain distance of over 150 feet away from that beach resource and CAFRA limits, that the cellular services, these small cellular services, would not be permitted to be able to be installed along a corridor like Ocean Avenue. So that's basically what this ordinance is about, is to define it proactively, protect our natural resource. The one thing that's not in here that I would like to add to it is that we have other natural resources that I think are of high value that should be considered into this resolution and into this ordinance, specifically the lakes, Sylvan Lake and Fletcher Lake, but specifically along the corridors of Lake Terrace and Bradley Avenues, so that we're not going to all of a sudden see a utility wanting to put poles along the lake in either case. So that needs to be added to this to be able to protect those natural resources. And so that's basically what this is about, and what we can do to basically enhance it to protect and preserve our beautified natural resources in Bradley Beach.
So you're suggesting we add Bradley Boulevard and Lake Terrace?
Yes, you can go back from Main Street all the way to Evergreen and Ocean Avenue, because they intersect just prior to. And Lake Terrace along the corridor of the lake. We could define those streets of where that would begin, Ocean Avenue, you know, and then terminate at some place into town.
You getting all this, Mr. Cannon?
Yeah, so it's on page 9, says no poles, cabinets, or similar facilities may be placed within 150 feet of the beach, any dunes, mean high water line. Or Ocean Avenue. I mean, I'm thinking that you could just add the lake, 150 feet of the lakes, right?
Well,
Or is that too far?
It's the corridors along the lakes, so
About.
it's Bradley and Lake Terrace, Bradley Avenue and Lake Terrace. We should actually take the time to clearly define those limits. And probably Madison, Ocean.
So on Fletcher Lake, it should probably be, you know, along Lake Terrace from Ocean Ave to Madison Ave, because that's where the lake ends. So there wouldn't be any prohibition, I mean, past that, you know, there's playground, there's residential on both sides after that next block. But I guess the bigger question, Greg, so can we amend this on the fly before we introduce and do that?
I mean, that's up to you. Obviously, I have it open. I can do that. If you want to more specifically, you know, if you want to take some more time and make sure that we get it perfect. This is a substantive change, so if you introduce it and then change it again. we reintroduce it.
Should be both.
Because you're changing the scope of the
So let's
regulation.
change before we introduce. And I have another, I mean, are we fully in the workshop here? Can I like,
Yes.
are you done basically is what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just wanna like find out, would you characterize this as this, you know, we're still allowing the utilities because the state statute says we have to, but we're just basically setting the parameters, like they could still come in and put, you know, if they find some, you know, 5G technology that's really unobtrusive or not, you know, it still allows it, right?
Correct, and so every one of our streets are behind the houses where there's existing pole lines.
Right.
Or even Main Street, which is a state route, they, you know, would be potential candidates for this technology. We don't know where they're putting them or when they will come. But this is again, a way to set it up and try to define it and protect where we have a viability to do that. And the natural resource is the way to do that.
Hey, guys, just a couple quick comments too. There are towns near us, Lavalette, Spring Lake, Belmar, who have been sued by Verizon already. As I was mayor-elect status, I had not yet been sworn in. One of the mayors reached out to me and said, this should be one of your highest priorities, get this ordinance on the book. So, and as you just said, it's largely, John, it's largely trying to define aesthetic features as opposed to trying to argue against the technology itself. So I would hope, Greg Cannon, if you're able to incorporate some language that would at least reference the two lakes, Sylvan and Fletcher, I really would like to proceed with getting a vote on this tonight, if we could.
Okay, let me work on the language for that while you do the other workshop, and then we'll go over it when it comes up for introduction.
We're skipping the other workshop.
The other workshop.
The other workshop.
You're gonna have to craft this, yeah,
Type faster, Greg.
yeah,
Okay.
type faster.
Sorry.
We'll talk
I'll
slowly.
work on it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about this? Right, anybody else up here, right, we're good, okay, Ray?
Come to the right.
Sure, come on up. Just say your name and address.
Hi, Ray Castellano, 604 Bradley Boulevard. So I have a couple of questions. Is this existing towers or new towers or both?
Well, they're not, I wouldn't refer to them as towers, poles, because they are basically limited to a standard pole. height.
Existing poles or new poles or both?
Both.
Okay, so I don't understand, and I know about the lawsuits in Belmar. According to what I'm reading here, the typical transmission signal of a 5G tower can be a few hundred meters to a few kilometers. So I don't think 150 feet does anything. From the high water mark, you're still going to be really near Main Street or near Ocean Avenue, you're still going to see it. I don't know why it has to be that close to the beach to reach anyone on the beach. If you get what I'm saying, it should, a couple of blocks in, and you're still gonna have transmission from wherever you put it along the beach, so I don't know why it has to be that close.
Right, well, I think if you look at the distance, that would basically put you to where you would have to be a block in. Or, you know, behind the homes, there is no location that basically would prevent you from putting anything on Ocean Avenue with a 150-foot corridor. So I think the rationale here is the dimension sets it so that there is no viable right of way then to place the poles on. On the avenues, you know, on, you know, the main, you know, streets that are east-west, they could.
Right.
And encroach towards, but they would have to stay 150 feet away from that beach resource at a minimum. So it basically, and it's not about necessarily about the signal, we don't know where they're gonna look to place these or how they're gonna do that technology, how they're gonna apply it. The core, this is really more about keeping the aesthetic and keeping that infrastructure off of Ocean Avenue.
Right, which I agree with. I'm just saying that I think they could still get the signal they need to travel from where they put the pole all the way to the beach, if they go from the second or third block in along the east-west streets.
And that very well.
And there are already poles there.
And that very well may be. We don't, like I said, we can't just arbitrarily prevent accessing any of all of our right of way. We have to set that parameter based on a corridor or based on some resource.
I see
So
what you're
how, so how do we, you see, there is no rationale that we could prevent them from doing that. They would challenge just a broad brush of keeping it away. We have to do it so that it's meticulously defined strategically, so that we keep that resource of of Ocean Avenue, as well as the ecological aspect of the lakes.
Right, well, I get what you're saying. The only thing I would say, I would add then is 150 feet to me is not enough. I would make it 800 feet.
Again,
Because there's no rationale why they have to be so close to Ocean Avenue. The transmission signal will reach as far east as they want to go.
again, on a cell tower and the technology, they're looking to deploy their technology, whatever that technology may be, transmitting or not. They have the right to place it in the right of ways. And so, again, we can't just be undue burden to them. They would challenge us. We, again, want to do it based on CAFRA, based on the permitting process, based on the resource and the value of that resource, not to be degraded by that corridor being accommodating poles and other infrastructure. So that's the rationale.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sharp?
Thank you, Peter Sharp, 301 Second Avenue. Mr. Nowicki, welcome to the front of the room.
Thank you.
Your comments have engendered some questions, but I guess from your answer to this gentleman's comments, it sounds like it's still early days and there's not a lot of answers yet. So, but hopefully, as we go through this, you'll keep us posted on the number of units, location of units, and I guess cabling, if there is to be cabling. That seems to be a lot of people get upset about excess cabling. Cabling was handled in other technologies here in town, so it'd be good to keep an eye on that. And I understand this technology is probably lower power than your high tower 5G transmission. So they're probably looking to put in a little mesh system at various points in the town. So that's why they need, I guess, the 150 feet. But I'm wondering if we can't put 150 feet within the beach, which is where all the users are going to be on a summer day. We'll also like to keep an eye on whether Beach Avenue is going to get slammed with just row after row of them stations on the east. We pick that up. So anyhow, look forward to your future comments on this topic. Interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do think that as this unwinds, you're absolutely right. We gotta keep an eye on it and keep the community informed, and whatever we can do to, you know, be efficient and help guide utility to the best of our ability. So I agree.
And Paul, there's no specific proposal from a utility right now. This is all, like you said, it's preemptive. But because it has happened in other towns, I mean, it's really prudent, so.
Also, radiation safety studies. Okay, thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Joanne, 612 Third Avenue, I want to thank the council for taking this step. You know, we've ridden through Belmar and seen all the signs. It's not fun. But I love this special resource area. And including the lakes is great because, you know, our view shed needs to be protected, especially when we don't know what the technology is going to look like or how many there's going to be. You know, these corridors are very important and it relates to value of the properties too. But also, we did have a miserable experience, and I know maybe not everybody was here, the 200 block of Evergreen Avenue with the Altice box, where we were told, oh, it's not gonna be there, it doesn't have to be there, and then all of a sudden, there's this big Altice box with yellow bollies, and then they put plants around it, and the neighbors were not really notified. They thought they were gonna be notified. They thought they had rights. Turns out they didn't. So if we could be more proactive on this ahead of the technology, that'd be great. Thank you all for working on it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Frederick?
Jim Frederick, 7044. So, Paul, when we talk about aesthetics, is it more cosmetic? I mean, can we negotiate what these things look like eventually? You know, some of the towers now look like, you know, up the parkway, they look like trees, you know, just so you.
I believe that there is, will be those opportunities, but again, with no proposal or not knowing who's coming to town with what, you know, Verizon. Those things continues to change, but that would be something that we would engage the utility on when they were to come into town. We would definitely want to see if there was an opportunity to do something to disguise, if you could, or make it more appealing in some form or fashion.
Sure, thank you. Shade trees.
Okay, anybody else? Well, thank you. That was really informative.
Thank you.
All right.
I haven't finished the language you want me to, before we move on.
Sure.
I'm gonna read it to you.
Yes.
All right, so we have the no poles, cabinets, or similar facilities may be placed within 150 feet of the beach that I read to you earlier. Added a new paragraph. It says, no poles, cabinets, or similar facilities may be placed upon or along the parklands or public right of way surrounding Sylvan Lake, including but not limited to Evergreen Avenue and Bradley Boulevard from Ocean Avenue to Main Street. Nor may any poles, cabinets, or similar facilities be placed upon or along the parklands or public ROW surrounding Fletcher Lake, including but not limited to Lake Terrace from Ocean Avenue to Madison Avenue. And I don't think the other roads are in our town. So on the lake, the roads on the other side of the lake are not ours, correct?
Correct.
They're in Avon and, okay.
We're gonna.
Okay, so that's the full extent of what we can do around the lakes then.
Right. I think what we'll do is take that back to those lake commissions and have them push it back through the adjacent, you know, our partner towns.
Okay, cool. That sounds great. All right, so I have this ready for introduction with that change, Councilman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good. All right. Erica, take it away.
Okay. Well, next you have approval of minutes.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the January 7th.
Oh, I guess I have to do that first.
You don't have to.
I was gonna let
I can't
Erica
do
do
that,
it, but that's
sorry.
okay. Go ahead. You can make a motion, go ahead.
Minutes of the January 7th, 2025 council business meeting.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Noble?
I will vote yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna open this up now for public comments and questions pertaining to the agenda items only. I just want to let you know that we will have public comment on the ordinances that we are adopting, 2025-1 through 4. So you can hold your questions if you do have any on those later. So do we have any questions or comments on agenda items only? I do. Okay, Mia.
We have Tassia 401 The Cave. I saw that Irvington Manor is on the agenda, and I just wanted to, I guess, speak on that again.
on my behalf and my neighbors. We're just hoping that there'll be some kind of a communication or, I don't know, moving forwards, what is going to become of the property. So I just wanted to just mention that. Also, in the past, we had that old SDL portal. We were able to kind of keep track of what goes on, permit wise, construction wise, on that property. And I just wanted to mention that maybe it would be a good idea to put that on the to-do list or something to look into. Maybe it will benefit the borough. So I just wanted to mention that. And that's it. I guess just anxious to see what happens to that property as the residents on McCabe walk by it every day and it just sits, vacant and unattractive and et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
With me, if you have a second, the SDL portal is probably not coming back. We replaced it with this thing called GovPilot. And as you can imagine, it's on a very long list of things, but we found out that GovPilot has a similar feature where you can go into that and see. And that feature that has existed all this time was just never put on our website. It was probably a choice of the last administration. So we're gonna choose to put it on the website so you can have that and access things like permits and things like that. You got it.
Wonderful. Okay, and I don't think we could comment on Irvington Manor at this point,
Well, we could tell you that it's privately owned property. And there has been no movement to improve it beyond what it is by the private owner, which isn't necessarily illegal at this moment, although unattractive. So that's where we stand. We have multiple litigations open again with the property owner that were initiated by her this time instead of us. So I don't know why, but that's, it's privately held property. So we only have, so much we can do so long as it's not a danger.
Okay. Brett, yes?
All right. As always, give me a minute here.
Take your time.
Might be over here. So, Jack Havlin, 409 Brindley. I'm here speaking as chair of the Charter Study Commission. I just need to make a couple of points on the resolution for your passage. And yes, it is number 20 on the list of 20, so I know it's going to be good before we get there. First, we appreciate you putting this out there and letting the staff know that they can review the list. Just a couple of points on it. First, as far as the commission presenting names to the PA on people to interview, we're fine with that. I spoke with the PA this afternoon. So we realize also that we have an already outdated list, right? There are new people and new positions. So we would like a current list, new list to us, and then we'll present more names. But you'll have some names for tomorrow, and we can interview people as early as next week. We have a meeting coming up on Monday, and after that, we're going to be ready to go. Second, related to the point and the language of the location of the interviews, it specifies that they have to be here in Borough Hall. But we have already heard from some staffers who prefer their interviews be elsewhere. We'll interview people wherever, here, across the street, in their homes, whatever, that's fine. So we just ask that you allow some flexibility there and allow the interviews to take place, at the request of the staffers. But we can make the default location, but that's fine by us. And that's really it. Oh, sorry, one other thing for the, just a question for the mayor and the council members. We would want to interview all of you as well. We don't know if you fall in the category of a staffer whose interview would need to be private. In some of the other jurisdictions where this has been done, the elected officials spoke publicly. You're welcome to do that at one of the meetings, or if you want to go private, we can do it that way as well. That's a question for us to figure out as we go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for all the work you guys have been doing already. It's great. Okay, onward, ordinances, we have to introduce a few ordinances here. We're gonna start with ordinance 2025-5, an ordinance amending chapter 115, animals of the borough's revised general ordinances to increase the annual dog license fee for the first time since 1987. I would like to make a motion to approve 2025-5.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble,
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes, but I have to make a comment. I put this on a list, like I said, I'm sure it's a very long list to the new mayor, and, you know, I had a dog for 15 years, and I know that the fee never changed. I thought, well, that's kind of weird that the fee never changed. I never would have imagined that the fee hadn't changed for 20 years prior to that. And here it is. I mean, already, so this is more evidence, like, your government is working much better, and we're gonna change these fees, and this is one of many fees, but anyway, so I already voted yes, thank you.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes.
Erica, I have to apologize. I did not see a hand for
Oh.
Mary Ann Spillman.
Okay, we can go back to the public comment.
It's okay. Mary Ann, I apologize. I did not see your hand up
I
there.
didn't see it
Did you have a
either, so-
question or comment about the agenda?
Yes, I had a question about the next ordinance. Is this the time to ask it, the -6, 2025-6?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to know what a transient rental is under this definition and how that relates to the requirement for 6.5-day minimum rentals in the borough.
Greg, would you like to take? this
Sure,
one?
so this does not change any of the current requirements for short-term rentals in the borough. This simply implements a 3% tax on, they're called transient accommodations in the statute that authorizes this tax. That's why the word is different. We've typically referred to them as short-term rentals here. But it's the same, a transient accommodation is the same definition as a short-term rental. None of the parameters of the ordinance that's currently in place in terms of the days or the requirements are changing. Simply a 3% tax added only to transactions that are booked through a transient accommodation marketplace, which is classically Airbnb, VRBO, those kinds of places. If the transaction is conducted through a realtor or through a for sale by owner sign or on, not on the internet, then it's not subject to the tax. So this ordinance is filed with DCA, and the websites that operate in the state of New Jersey are required to check with DCA for what the local rules are. And anytime someone's listed as a transient accommodation on one of those websites, it'll automatically add the 3% tax and send it, I believe it sends it to the borough, at least with some of the websites. But it's simply a 3% tax on, we'll call them short-term rentals, but transient accommodations is the word in the statute that actually authorizes this. That overall, that's all the rules.
So that's in addition to the fees for the certificate of occupancy and the tourism fee and the landlord registration. So all this transient fee is on this tax is on top of those other requirements.
Yes, but only those booked through a website. So not if you have a realtor that lists your property, that's exempt from the tax. Or if you just put out a sign and conduct the transaction not online, then that's not applicable there either.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So next up, I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance 2025-6, an ordinance amending chapter 365 rental property of the borough's revised general ordinances to impose an occupancy tax on certain rentals within the borough of Bradley Beach.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 2025-7. I'd like to make a motion that we introduce an ordinance augmenting chapter 398, streets and sidewalks of the borough's revised general ordinances to create a new article 6, small wireless facilities to regulate certain cellular wireless facilities in the borough's right of way. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes.
Next, we have ordinances that we're going to adopt along with a public hearing. For ordinance 2025-1, an ordinance amending chapter 5, administration of government of the borough's revised general ordinances to clarify the applicable schedule for borough council meetings. I'd like to make a motion that we open this to the public.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Still getting used to all your names, I'm sorry.
Do we have any questions or comments on this ordinance? Okay, I'd like to make a motion. We close the public comment and hearing
And adopt.
and adopt
Thank you.
the ordinance 2025-1.
Second.
Mr. Noble,
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt.
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 2025-2, an ordinance amending chapter 5, administration of government of the borough's revised general ordinances to clarify the publication schedule for borough council meeting agendas. I'd like to make a motion that we open this up to the public.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki.
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Any questions, any comments?
Well, just for the public's benefit, this one, because we moved the council meeting date back a day, we have to make an adjustment in the amount of time that we have to get meeting materials out and preliminary agenda and all that stuff. So that's essentially what this is doing.
Thank you, Councilman Weber.
You got it.
All right, as there's no questions or comments, I'm going to say, make a motion that we adopt this and we close the public comments and adopt ordinance 2025-2.
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt.
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 2025-3, an ordinance amending chapter 78 personnel policies of the Borough revised general ordinances to clarify eligibility for vacation paid time off. I'd like to make a motion that we open to public comment.
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Any questions or comments? Okay, I would make a motion that we close and adopt ordinance 2025-3.
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
One more, ordinance 2025-4, an ordinance amending chapter 78 personnel policies of the borough's revised general ordinances to eliminate borough attorney eligibility for deferred contribution retirement program. I'd like to make a motion that we open this to the public.
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Questions, comments?
And this, for the public, this one just makes sure that our borough attorney Greg Cannon cannot participate in some of the benefits.
As a non-employee.
As a non-employee of town, he.
I never have, by the way. just so
Never had,
everyone's
never
aware.
will, but just making it into law, so.
I'll make a motion that we close the public comment and adopt ordinance 2025-4.
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
And with communications, we have some resignations and appointments with the Environmental Commission, the Shade Tree Commission, the Recreation Center, the Sylvan Lake Commission, the Library Board. We also have OEM Coordinator stipend increase along with salary increase for OEM employee Bob Pearsall. And that concludes that, and then we go on to our resolutions. Would anybody like to vote any of these out separately? On our consent agenda resolutions? As there is none, I'd like to make a, what was the word I'm gonna say?
Motion to
Okay, I
adopt
want to make sure
consent
I'm
agenda
on
resolution.
schedule here, okay. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve or adopt. Adopt, okay. 2025-49 through 2025-58. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Okay, I was getting ahead of myself there. Okay, on to the individual resolutions. So first we have 2025-59, professional service appointment Alawa and Company as the Borough Auditor from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, and to perform the 2024 municipal audit. Do we have any discussion? We're good?
Council President, the only discussion worth noting is somebody might be wondering, we are still waiting for the delivery of the 2023 audit. From everything I understand, though, it's the auditor is waiting on our finance department and our prior CFO, and now our new CFO is likely to provide him his final exhibits that he needs to complete the 23 audit.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to 2025-59.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes,
Next, we have 2025-60, authorizing award of professional engineering services with CME Associates for general engineering services. Any discussion?
I would just say, this is basically the general engagement for services as needed basis, not very specific for a project, but if there's something that's needed that needs to be done and call on CME, that we have the ability to do that. Not have to go through a resolution process, so.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion, we 2025-60.
Second,
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
yes,
Next, we have 2025-61, approval to apply for a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $100,000 for improvements to the Bradley Beach Park.
If I can ask you a question.
Certainly.
I'd asked a question and I didn't get a chance to see if there was an answer. We're talking about the beachfront, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then we're talking about playground equipment? Is this like new?
Yes, it would be where the playground is currently. There's swings there. They're considering maybe replacing the swings with a toddler set that's more friendly for younger
I
children.
just wanted to make sure it's not replacing the $100,000.
The brand new one that they
That
put
we
there.
just put in.
No, definitely not. It would be replacing the swings from 1973.
I'm just making sure. I don't go on these playgrounds anymore, so I gotta make sure.
Yes, and it's not a matching grant. This would be used for
This
that.
is just to apply to the state for the. money
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
but
just-
I want to
yes,
make-
yeah.
okay, Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve 2025-61.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
yes,
Next, we have 2025-62, authorizing and providing for the issuance of sale of $11,187,000 bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Bradley Beach in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, to the Monmouth County Improvement Authority and determining various matters in connection therewith. So basically, this is just, they found a better rate, so they're refining. So they're anticipating by doing this, saving the borough $70,000. Any other questions or comments on this? I'd like to make a motion to approve 2025-62.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
yes,
Next, we have 2025-63, appointing Pamela Valentine as the Community Development Director. Any questions or comments? We actually have Pam here, if you'd like to stand up and just say hello, give us a wave.
And Jane, I'll make a quick comment. Pam has more or less been working in this capacity very unselfishly for a pretty long time, well over a year. And I think this appointment was well overdue.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we approve 2025-63.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes,
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Valentine. Next, we have 2025-64, authorizing an agreement with Avon Vitamin C to share goose control expenses. Comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
So does this suggest that the Fletcher Lake Commission also needs to put a request in and go through a resolution for these same services for 2025?
we did that last meeting, I think.
No, that was for 2024 services.
Right, but this also, so this one seems to also be for. Well, it says from November 24 to December 25, so, it's a good question. I assumed not until I saw this, so I don't, if we need to, we need to, but.
Well, those are typically done with separate resolutions. We don't typically combine them because they're two different commissions. And so those requests typically come in separately, so we should follow up with Fletcher.
So Fletcher is required also to formally request, and I guess I'm looking to the mayor, but our attorney to formally request. I'm the liaison to Fletcher
Yeah.
Lake, so I just Awesome.
So do we need?
Yeah,
a
there's different processes for the two lakes. The Fletcher Lake Commission funds the goose deterrent process through only for the Bradley side. As I understand it, the Neptune side doesn't really have much of an issue with, because they have that large bulkhead there. On the other hand, we have a joint agreement at the south end of town with Sylvan Lake that Avon typically has done the hiring, but we have a joint agreement with them that we pay for half of it, which what we're authorizing here is $2,500 each.
So the question still remains then about whether a resolution needs to be written in order
I mean,
to,
not if Neptune isn't participating.
not if Neptune
I mean, this
is.
is effectively a shared services agreement with Avon to split the cost of geese control. So if Neptune's not participating, it's just something we fund Fletcher Lake with from here. Then if you could do a resolution, it'd be different than this one, though. You'd basically just be authorizing the expenditure to give it to Fletcher Lake.
Okay, because I had talked to you about this, Matt, early in the year and. Well, if we need a resolution, we'll do one, but I did not know that distinction, Mr. Mayor, about Neptune not doing their part because they don't need to, so we'll figure it out. A good question. And then I have one other comment, and I feel remiss because this was on the bill list that we already passed, but I feel like the item on the bill list, the 2,000, and this says 2,500, so is that? There's an item on the bill list to pay Avon, it was just flat 2,000.
That's what they build us.
That's what they build us. So maybe we're getting away with 500. Okay. Alright.
Onward, okay, anything else?
I would just make the comment that it's really key for the health of the lake that goose patrol's out there, and it really has been so effective over the last 2 years, and it's a great program and well worth the dollar value for the quality and the health of the lake.
Thank you for saying that, that's great. Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we approve 2025-64.
Second,
Mr. Noble,
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowinki,
yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes.
Next, we have 2025-65, resolution of the Borough of Bradley Beach committing to the borough's 4th round affordable housing obligations. Questions, comments?
Go ahead, Al.
Well, I was just going to say, just for the benefit of the public, that Bradley Beach is very committed to participating with affordable housing, with fair share housing, and this is our first step in acknowledging by resolution that we will be participating in round 4. And from this point, there's a number of technical commitments we need to make, including filing official paperwork with the state, and then having a 10-year plan in defining how we will meet the obligation we have developed, I believe, in June. So a lot to come over the next 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, and I would just like to add, there have been some people talking about this in town. Apparently there was an article in the Asbury Park Press, and it went through every town in Monmouth County and what their obligation is, and if they had met it, or, it's really important for people to know that the state comes up with a number. Almost they come to it by math. They just figure out the need for all of the state of New Jersey, and then they literally do division to figure out, how much each town does, and they don't really account for a lot of things. For example, in Bradley Beach, we have very little vacant land. So the number that you may have read in the paper, or some people read in the paper, is probably not going to be the number that is our obligation. We're going to meet our obligation number, whatever it is, but when you look at the fact that there's no empty developable land in Bradley Beach, it's called the vacant land adjustment, and that actually brings our number down a lot. There's some other things, people should know. We put an affordable housing ordinance on the books back in 2017. And there was some question as to why some big developments in town did not give us affordable units after that, but essentially we're chasing that down and we're gonna get credit for those units, so just so you know.
I just have a question. So at what point in this process are we safeguarded from builder's remedy once we're back in? At what point?
Greg?
Upon adoption of the resolution tonight.
Okay,
and filing of the declaratory judgment action in 48 hours.
Wonderful. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve 2025-65.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes.
Next, we have 2025-66, appointing a full-time construction official, Tim Murray, for the Borough of Bradley Beach. Tim, there is Tim Murray. Comments?
I would like to add that, DCA requires a town to have a full-time construction official, and we've not had that here in Bradley Beach, and so this is a big move. And having recently gone through construction, which went very smoothly, but it's great to have an individual who's accountable and is going to do this for us. So thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Wonderful. I'd like to make a motion that we approved 2025-66.
second,
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes.
Thank you, and thank you, Tim, for being here, and we wish you the best of luck. And thank you for serving the residents of Raleigh Beach, we appreciate that. I'd like to make a motion that we're going to table the next one, which is 2025-67 Fifth Avenue paving. Do I have a second that we table this
Second,
ordinance?
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes.
Okay, and the next up is 2025-68 Charter Study Commission to interview employees. Discussion?
I guess,
Let's-
Council President,
Yes.
Mr. Kaplan mentioned, I don't know, do we need to adjust the language at all to allow
Already did.
flexibility for location of the interviews?
I already did, I took out at Borough Hall.
Okay,
Yeah,
great,
you
thank you.
So Mr. Kaplan's suggestion, I already did email it to Erica, so you can adopt the resolution as amended and move on.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve 2025-68.
Okay.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
Yes.
Next is announcements. There are none. And then we have the administrator report.
Hey.
You're welcome.
I'll let you know, I've been earning my keep the last couple of weeks. A few things to report back on, for the council and for the mayor, and for the public. One of the things that was important to Mayor Gubatosi, we started to implement is a more open, transparent process with the members of the council themselves. So I can tell you, every member of the council has walked through the church. That is obviously a hot topic of discussion in town. Also, we've met numerous times over bills lists, met with professionals. And I've started instituting a directors meeting on a weekly basis. One thing you'll know about government is you can't run government like a business, but you can bring private sector ideas and policies and implement them in the public sector. So we had a directors meeting with the DPW director, the chief of police, and other director heads as well. Today, two of our council members joined us for that, just so that they know what's going on inside their government. The mayor and I met with representatives from local 152 to advance the negotiations and move that contract closer to fruition. I hope to have it in front of the council for consideration tonight. But unfortunately, there are these people called attorneys, and they get in the middle of stuff, and they have to put their stamp on it. So it's gonna be delayed just a little bit, but we should have it all completed in February. And one thing I do want to note is the tremendous effort and work from our Department of Public Works, particularly the last few weeks when the temperature has gone from 40 degrees down to 14 degrees. And whether it's, snow removal, sanding, but even the typical stuff they do, garbage pickup, recycling pickup, it gets a lot more challenging in the bitter cold. So we're able to, most of us, we're able to get out of that and work in nice warm offices like this. But the team that Director Cafone has is out there in the most challenging element. So thank you, Director, and then please, thanks to your team as well. As mentioned before, we have a brand new CFO. He's doing an amazing job. And in meeting with department heads, one of the things our department heads wanted was the ability to use Amazon. Most everyone uses Amazon. And it turns out that they have great service, great products, and better pricing than a lot of other places we can get. So while it's been held up in the past, our new CFO is looking to advance that to make procurement easier and less expensive here in the borough. And to conclude with, the other thing that the mayor's tasked me with this is increasing efficiency and effectiveness just in the work staff. So you'll see we had one promotion, and congratulations, Pam. As we go through the next month, we're gonna settle the contract with 152, move forward with that, but also make some additional changes in personnel, both in this building and outside this building, to continue to fine tune that. So ultimately, we can serve the residents of Bradley Beach, and do it at the most cost-effective manner possible. Council President, any questions for me?
I'm fine. Anybody else? Thank you very much for everything you've done already.
Actually, Jane,
Oh, go ahead. Yes,
Jane, comment for Matt.
yes.
Mr. Doherty, I think it might be worth sharing with the council and the public your vision, as you described it to me, about trying to provide periodic updates on our finances.
Yes, the other thing we're
Budget.
asking thank you for that, Mayor. Our CFO is, to have updates as far as when you look at the bill list, well, what is that against budget? Right, so you have a budget for the year, we start spending against that, how far are we along in that budget process? How much money do we have left in the budget for those line items? And some are, spent in the beginning of the year, some are in the middle, some are at the end. The police department has different spending throughout the year. Department of Public Works certainly has different spending throughout the year. So just gives the a snapshot on either quarterly or maybe monthly basis to the public, where your money is, how it's getting spent, and also for the council to have a clearer understanding of the budgets and spending against the budget. And one of the tools we want to implement to make it more transparent for the public as well is a much better website. So we're gonna start going through the process of improving the website so that whether it's financial documents, like the mayor just mentioned, calendar of events, calendar of, whether it's tourism or Department of Public Works, council meetings, minutes, all of it to make it much more user-friendly, both for the departments inside, but also for the residents themselves. So we're gonna start a process of revamping the website as well.
Now I have a question, Madam President.
Oh, go, yes.
Matt, how do we figure out whose job it is to update the website? I have like boards and commissions and things that, they need things changed and updated, and who do they get that to?
So the system we want to get to is centralized. So whether it's a board or a commission, whether it's the clerk, email, whether it's video, graphics, or text to one location, and that person will upload it immediately. That person will not look at what it is, they're not gonna correct it, they're gonna proofread it, they're just gonna post it. So we're gonna assume that whatever commission, board, the clerk, departments, whatever information is given to that individual is accurate. They're not gonna check for accuracy, but they will post it immediately. So it relieves some of the stress off of department heads and also the public trying to figure out and find out what exactly is going on.
But you said that's the system we're moving to. What if, what do I do tomorrow? Because we got a bunch of new people getting on commissions and stuff. Who do we email?
For right now,
You're
you
supposed to
can,
say, email me, John.
I was gonna say, for right now, email me
Okay.
and I will disperse it to the appropriate person. So that people don't have to try to find who it is, kind of playing whack-a-mole. But eventually, it's not gonna go to me, it's gonna go to someone significantly smarter than me. Who knows
I
what
don't know
they're
how to
doing,
do this. Okay.
and we'll load that up immediately.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Next we have Nancy's motioning to something, but we're not to public comments yet, though. Okay, so we have to go to the mayor and council reports next. And I will start with me since, why are you pointing to Mary Ann? I know, but we're not to that point yet. She can raise her hand, but we have to wait for public comments. Okay, right now we're at the mayor and council reports. I'll start with me because mine's brief. First of all, there's the Board of Ed meeting is next week, so I'll report on that after that. I did attend the Bradley Beach Tourism meeting and they reviewed the upcoming event, the Jazz Festival, which is February 7th and 8th. It is currently sold out, so it's going to be a very exciting, huge event. And they had some resolutions to spend some monies for the upcoming events throughout the year. And the Bradley Beach Shade Tree Commission had a meeting January 8th that I attended. And they basically, let's see, they went over ordinance modifications, their 5-year plan, their calendar. They're thinking of maybe bypassing the spring planting event and just doing a fall planting event. And their budget is currently $11,900. And that completes my report. Councilman Newman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a report in the liaison for the police department. I did receive a report from them, so I'd like to report that a subject was arrested with a defiant trespassing, obstructing administration of the law and resisting arrest at a local establishment for a belligerent and aggressive man entering the employee-only area. He continued his unruly and threatening behavior when the police arrived, which prompted his arrest. Second, a subject was arrested for DWI following a traffic investigation. And lastly, an individual on an act of contempt of court warrant was arrested. So these were the events over the last 2 weeks. First, fire and first aid, I did not receive a formal report yet from them. However, I would like just to recognize the blood drive that was today. Many people were there and the output was really good. Talked to the people administrating that today, and it was pretty successful. So thank you for everybody who participated in the blood drive. Next, I'd like to report on Sylvan Lake. Commission meeting was held on January 15th. And there's a lot of things happening at Sylvan Lake currently. It's been ongoing for quite several years, but it seems as though everything's coming to a head this year. We were informed by the Department of Navy, by the Liberal Society, who received a grant from the Department of Navy for $200,000. It's called a REPI grant, and it's going to advance the lake revitalization program, which began with that living shoreline that was built on the Avon side. Other projects that are advancing this year as well, including replacement of the retaining wall along Bradley Avenue. That's where you see that snow fence along Bradley Avenue from Evergreen all the way up to Madison. There's also proposed to be repairs to the flow gate that controls the water spillway to the outfall that's been malfunctioning. And the DEP has actually put together a contract and has awarded for construction later this year, probably in the fall, that will replace the ocean outfall pipe that's underneath the beach there that outfalls to the ocean that had a collapse. And so right now they've done some mitigation to make the area safe, but the project would actually progress probably after Labor Day. With all these things going on, it was also reported at the commission meeting that they're intending to put together a community information involvement session here later this year, probably late spring, early summer, as these projects progress, just to be able to share all that information with the community and what is actually happening and how all these projects are being coordinated. And then lastly, I'd like to report on the land use board. The land use board met on Thursday, 1/16. They had their reorganization meeting. New members of the board were sworn in, and the board elected TJ Cohen as the chairperson and Dennis Mayer, the previous chair, as the vice chair. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Shawna Greenberg.
So I have a couple of lengthy reports, since these were really the first meetings that I've attended, and some of them were reorg meetings. Before I share the reports, Council President DeNoble and I attended the Monmouth, New Jersey 250th Summit last week. So Monmouth County is beginning the process of addressing the 250th celebration of our country for 2026. And there are a lot of planned activities throughout the county, especially since a good portion of our county is very historical and participated in the Revolutionary War. So unfortunately, Bradley Beach does not go back that far, but I was actually on the Historical Society's meeting last night, and there may be some opportunity for Bradley Beach to really participate and connect the dots between our community and the larger county. So there's more to come, but there are a lot of activities that are planned throughout the county for next year. And I guess the first step is that each of the towns within, each of the municipalities within the county are asked to formulate a resolution to support and honor the 250th. So I hope we can do that. Excuse me. So more to come on that. Fletcher Lake Commission, I met with the Fletcher Lake Commission Chair, Anthony DeMeo, last Friday. Again, I want to thank John for passing the baton and helping me get up to speed. The commission's January meeting was canceled as they held an emergency meeting on December 19th to discuss the pending reimbursement issues which they have received. They were pleased to see their 2024 funds approved, along with the reimbursement for the geese control. The goose control program is supported by the municipality with a total cost of $5,000. And I guess I got that wrong. It's not equally shared among Neptune. So it's really only Bradley Beach's commitment to address this. The program is instrumental in the revitalization of the lake's wildlife population, and the commission looks forward to a positive impact on water quality with this program. The commission did a beta test on clustered flower shrub plantings along the shoreline to test sustainability. So they found success and plan to implement a number more around the lake. Planting will take place in early to mid-May with lead Sal Galicetti and commission member at the helm. So anyone interested in providing some gardening manpower to this effort would be appreciated, especially from the Neptune side of the lake, which is short on labor planting. So please contact the commission with interest in participating. In spring, the recently installed bridge which spans the lake will be stained to extend its durability to the elements. The commission will ask Neptune to take on this task. 7 diseased trees have been removed along the lake and to date have not been replaced. Upon review of the council, the commission would like to have input on the new trees to be planted and perhaps coordination with the Shade Tree Commission and or its tree expert. The Fletcher Lake Commission will hold its next meeting Thursday, February 13th, 6 p.m. at Borough Hall. All interested are welcome to attend. Now to the Arts Council. The Arts Council currently has 2 remaining members who are interested in continuing to serve. One comes from theater arts and the other from fine arts, and is also a member of the BBVCA Visual Arts Community Initiative. The current members of the Arts Council will meet with me this upcoming Friday. Any artists in town who have interest in playing a role in the Arts Council, please reach out to me on my borough email. This includes visual artists, graphic, textile, industrial artists, and photographers, performance artists, musicians, writers, and even those perhaps in the culinary arts. I'm very happy to jumpstart the new Arts Council. The Recreation Committee Board. I attended the Rec's first board meeting of the year on Monday, January 13th, which was also their reorg meeting. And what a lively and energetic group the Rec Commission is. The board nominated and approved their chairperson, Rusty Caldwell, who is continuing his leadership, Tom Gavin as vice chair, and CJ Scharfenstein as secretary. The reorganized board has 7 members, 3 of whom are new to the board. Anyone interested in serving as a potential board substitute can reach out to Rec Director Courtney Pappas. The Rec Committee set its meeting calendar for the year, the second Monday of the month, 6:30 p.m. at the Rec Center, with a few exceptions for holidays. The rec committee is working to finalize its bylaws, and this is a long time coming. Members will be appointed for one-year terms. Some exciting plans include, for the rec, board, radio bingo in March in partnership with the Bradley, Ladies Auxiliary. Mahjong Fridays may expand to Friday game day, family karaoke in March, and family game night, which may begin as early as February. Recreation will also be hosting a middle school silver ball arcade event for grades 5 through 8. It's a drop-off event scheduled for February 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. Watch for details, more to come. The Grinch was a great success and well received by those who were greeted at their front door. This will be a continued holiday tradition. Think warm thoughts. Plans are already underway for summer camp despite the deep freeze. Director Pappas will be looking for a new director for the summer camp. Finally, Courtney has submitted a wish list of upgrades for the rec center, details of which have been incorporated into the borough engineer's next recreation grant. The next rec board meeting is Monday, February 10th at 6:30 at the rec center. All are welcome to attend. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Weber.
Hey, I'm gonna start by commenting on process that we've already seen here at this meeting tonight. Hope everybody noticed that a council person led the workshop discussion and a new council person nonetheless. It's not like he was handed something to read. I mean, you can tell he knew his stuff when talking about the 5G. And I just wanted to comment, this is the change in the approach to leadership in this town. Things are being shared, information is being shared, and we're getting a lot done as a result of that. So thank you, but that's just the way things are rolling these days, which is fantastic. I want to congratulate the new members to all the boards and commissions that we just approved, and congrats to our new community development director and full-time construction official, which is great. The first aid sent me their report. They did their job. You are not going to hear that report because my phone died between now and then, so I apologize for that. But let's just say they're out there doing their job as volunteers all the time, and as always, they're looking for new members. So if anybody wants to volunteer, apparently you can do that through our website, the town website. So please do that. I'm going to talk about sidewalks because every kid in this town walks to school. So that's why we want to shovel our sidewalks. I'm sure nobody in this room is guilty of that, but it might be good if you could mention to your neighbors, you need to shovel your sidewalk. We've got some out of town summer people and they're just out to lunch, and I don't know, maybe they'll hear from our town or our code enforcement folks, but essentially if you don't do that, you're forcing kids to walk in the street on their way to school, which is not good. I'm gonna do something completely different, and which is to talk about a couple of presidential actions. Not talking about it just because it's in the news, but I'm talking about it because it really, really affects our town. First, our last president, President Biden, of course, he banned offshore oil and gas drilling along the entire US coast. This is huge, huge news. I think it's huge news for a town like ours. Our town and every town is now free from the worry of an oil spill that could just be catastrophic and wipe out our tourist economy. There is not drilling without spilling, and I think it's great that we are free from worrying about that now. The mayor and council of this town passed a resolution against offshore oil drilling in 2018, and now it has come to pass. We don't have to worry about this anymore. And I can't really believe I'm saying this, but our current president issued an executive order on birthright citizenship. Imagine that. It's right there in the Constitution that we're all citizens because we were born right here. That's probably how most people in this room are citizens, if you are. This affects our town greatly, and I want people to think about the kids in our school. And I want you to think about it as our school. You pay for it. How many students in the school does this affect? I know there's like 200 something kids in the school. Maybe it affects 100, maybe it affects 150. I don't know, but bad enough these kids have to worry about their parents getting deported. But now every day they're going to school and they're worried about themselves. And I think this is a real shame. I want to emphasize that we're talking about children, kids that should be just going to school, learning and figuring out how to become, you know, finding their way in the world and they gotta worry about this stuff. So I'm really thankful that we live in New Jersey and that we have a governor and an attorney general that's probably not gonna let anything like this happen. But I just want everyone to think about the kids in the school and the implications, what just went down, I guess, yesterday. So that is it for my report, and I appreciate your indulgence, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Weber. Mayor Gubertosi?
Thank you, Council President. Number one, I want to thank you personally for facilitating the meeting tonight. All last night, I was hacking a very bad cough all day today, and I got a lot better all of a sudden right before the meeting, but I still did not want to contaminate any of you guys. So thank you so much for leading as you did tonight. I also wanted to thank you quickly for your opening comments about the sign that's hanging behind you all. That was something I think we were all very passionate about, and again, not beating it to death, but I thought it would be just a powerful reminder to all of us. Our employees, they know they serve you, they show it every day. I think the council and me as mayor, we must serve the residents of this borough, and the more we do it and the more we show it, you know, maybe the less need for signs like that. But I just want to make sure that we are reinforcing that message daily to our residents. I don't know if anyone's realized it, but this council kind of hit the ground running. I could not be prouder of this group, especially our two new members, as well as John and Jane. We've had 3 council meetings in 3 weeks. If you think about it, I actually, that was lost on me, but January 1st, January 7th, and January 21st, that's a pretty hectic schedule as you prepare for these. And I really have to tip my hat also to our clerk, who I think has been driven a little crazy by all the activity, but we really have hit the ground running. We've also had effectively 3 meetings with our local 152. Well, we've had 1 meeting already last Friday. We've had 1 meeting between our attorneys, and the 3rd meeting will be this Friday in a couple of days. So we're making progress. I think it was stated earlier, Mr. Doherty said he hopes to get something done by next month. I'm optimistic that will happen. We've had very good discussion, very good dialogue, very positive. So everyone looking to reach a fair and equitable conclusion to that. One of the things I want to share with the public is that just as the new mayor, I'm doing everything in my power to pursue what I would call low-hanging fruit. There are opportunities to generate revenue. There's some shared service opportunities that I've had discussions with other municipalities that might want to give us revenue for us to take on some additional court services or some other areas where the borough could generate more revenue. Mr. Weber, you mentioned the dog licensing fees that hadn't been updated since 1987 or so. We haven't seen this yet. It should be at our next meeting, but I went through with the judge for our municipal court. I went through a list of close to 200 fines for smoking on the beach, fines for parking, in the wrong spot. Half of which had not been updated since 1980. So I beat your dog license by 7 years, I think. Anyway, we estimate we raised the fines on close to 200 different penalties, and we estimate that might be worth $50,000 to $70,000 of new revenue in 2025. Well, we may not get it enacted until mid-25. There's a process, and courts have to approve it. But once we get it all approved, it should increase our revenue $50,000 to $70,000 per year in the years ahead. I am, I guess, the new face of the mayor's wellness campaign, and that means I've got to get into action, get into better shape myself. But I'm very excited about the team that I've inherited from Mayor Fox. A lot of really passionate people who know a lot more than I do, not only about wellness, but about things that we can bring to the community. So I'm very anxious to get more involved there and do what I can to just better engage our community in wellness-related activities. I'm also a member of the library board, and I arrived late for my first meeting, but the board could not have been more gracious and more accepting of me. And I'm really looking forward to having an opportunity to work with them as we go forward. And I want to echo what Matt Doherty, our business administrator, said about our DPW. The last few days have been crazy cold with ice, with snow, plowing around some parked cars because we only had about an inch of accumulation. And I know there was some buzz on social media about alternate sides of the street. It wasn't deemed to be a plowing event. That said, our DPW was out salting the streets, plowing the inch or so of snow that did fall, and just continue to tip my hat to that group, especially because they are operating understaffed. More to come on that in future meetings. And then finally, I just want to mention I almost said mayor's newsletter, in the Bradley Beach newsletter, we identified 8 strategic task forces that we want to engage residents in. And we are openly requesting resident volunteers to staff these 8 task forces. So if you haven't seen it yet, please look for it. Please sign up. And if you can't find it, please just contact me or anyone on the council or Amy Hall, who's helping us coordinate. We would love to get that launched by the end of this month as well. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, next, we'd like to open up for public comments or questions. I see one hand up is Don Greenberg. Don?
Well, there we go. Hey all, I just want to thank the mayor and council for these speed meetings. I mean, this could be a new record. It's like 8:34 and you had an executive session too. So I just want to thank you guys for putting everything through so fast, having things so open, the BA report, the CFO report. It's just been a real breath of fresh air. So that's it. That's all I got to say.
That was well said. Thank you. We appreciate that. Ms. Spellman. Mary Ann?
Am I unmuted? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I missed some information on the 2025-66 appointment of the full-time construction official. And I wondered, what is the title of that construction official that was appointed and who was it? And is that somebody who's always been like a part-time person is now a full-time? Sorry, I missed that.
That's okay. Mr. Doherty, want to take this one?
So the title is construction official.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds kind of boring,
Vague.
right?
Sounds vague.
Sorry, boring title. Construction official, that's the official title that DCA recognizes. Tim has been with the borough for several years now. A couple of years. In a part-time capacity.
And who is it?
Tim Murray.
Okay, thank you. I just missed that. I have a sick puppy whining at me, so I missed a lot. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I hope he feels better, and thank you for the question. Anybody else?
So I have 2 emails that I received.
Oh, okay. We
that
have
I
2
need to read.
emails that our clerk's gonna read.
All right, so the first email that I received is from George Bacher of 407 Fletcher Lake Avenue. And Mr. Bacher wrote, "I am unable to attend tonight's meeting. I would openly express my concern that I see nothing on the agenda addressing the progress in disposing of 319 Lorraine Avenue. We, the residents, made it very clear what our position is by our votes. What is the dispose of the property? Why the delay in acting on the wishes of the public? It's time to get rid of this eyesore and enjoy the revenue that will result in the future development of this property." And then, again, that's from Mr. George Bacher of 407 Lake Avenue.
I'd like to address that letter.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so first of all, there was a referendum whether or not to spend $10 million and the borough, the residents voted no. And second of all, we do have an update as far as the progress. We had, if you'd like to take this, Mr. Doherty, that we had someone look at the church today for the artifacts.
Yes, we had one gentleman walk through today. and we're going through the process of properly and legally disposing of the artifacts, either through, open, fair bidding process, working with nonprofits that are 501c3s. But it's important that before the property gets demolished, that the artifacts or anything of value inside is properly allocated.
The property that's in the church belongs to the taxpayers, and there's certain state statutes you have to follow to get rid of these artifacts, or to sell them, or to donate them. And we have to follow the proper protocol. Once that is done, we can commence with the removal of the buildings and commence with the subdivision that has been approved with the land use board. But we thank George for his letter. We have one more?
Yes.
Okay, and I have one from Mr. Tom Gavin of 414 4th Avenue. Tom wrote, council members, I am unable to attend this evening, but I am greatly concerned. Nothing is included in your agenda this evening regarding the future demolition work on the 319 Lorraine Avenue property. The residents of our borough made clear their position by voting on the referendum. The land use board made the necessary ruling. Demolition bids are in your hands from professional and respected contractors. Why is there an additional delay occurring with no update on this eyesore, health hazard, and dangerous situation? We are all aware of the danger it is to public safety. The residents have made their votes their voice. Why is this not moving forward? Thank you for your response. Respectfully, Tom Gavin, 414 4th Avenue, Bradley Beach.
Councilman Nowicki?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to that. There are a few concerns that I've heard of from residents as well regarding the grading and drainage of after the property is demolished, and what is the state of the property going to be in? I'm done, see. So, back in December, a bid for the demolition was taken, and we do have a low bid for that demolition of that property. A couple things that we need to look at is that grading issue to make sure that that's okay. Make sure we have buy-in of the contractor that they are going to grade it to a coordination with the engineer who would produce the demolition plans to make sure we establish the proper grading on that property before demolition was to occur. So that is something that we are looking at. I'm going to speak with the T&M, that's the engineer that did the demolition plan, and that we need to take a look at that to make sure that it's going to be done properly and graded properly and established potentially back through the land use board. So that process we need to take a look at and finalize. We also have to make sure before demolition that we have the disposition of those artifacts properly allocated to how we're going to remove them. And so we can't necessarily give a notice to proceed on the demolition until we take care of those artifacts. So the first thing has to be is coordinate with the engineer and the demolition contractor, and simultaneously get into place the disposition of those artifacts, whether it's through the charitable organizations, auction, whatever the case may be. And that's trying to be resolved as we speak. So I'm hopeful that we will have that resolved here and a solution here in the next several weeks.
I hope that answers Tom's question.
Thank you.
And thank you for your letter, Mr. Gavin. And I see one more hand up, Mary.
Hi, it's actually Cindy Lukenda, 218 4th Ave. How is everybody?
Hi, Cindy. Very well.
Just two comments. On the resolution on the 2025-61 for the playground grant that you're seeking. Just because I'm very familiar with that playground, or really both playgrounds in town, could it be possibly considered, maybe not now, but certainly in the future planning, to see what it would cost to replace the base of both of the current playgrounds from the wood chips, which is not technically very safe or sanitary, to maybe looking at what it would cost to do more of like the court-like material, similar to the playground that's done in Belmar over on, I believe it's 5th Ave. It's much more conducive from an ADA perspective, safety for all ages, and obviously something that's, doesn't create as big a danger, or even just the unkeptness with pets, animals that, tend to run through that area. So if that could be something that could be just put on the radar for somebody.
We can certainly do that. It's a great suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And also, and additionally with that playground, I know I've often mentioned, and I know some people have had concerns about it, but if it were something to be looked about, possibly also thinking about putting shade sails during the summer months over that one on the beach, because it is ridiculously hot for children. That's just something else to think about for people. I know Mayor Fox had put up a small shade structure for technically, I guess, 2 parents to sit under it, but it's really the children that are using the equipment and are running around that it would behoove them to have some shade on the super
Great
hot days.
I agree.
And then I noticed online, on Facebook lately, the chatter again, always about, the speed and whatnot on Brindley Ave. And although it's a state road, I understand it's difficult to have anything done with that. Is there possibly something that could be explored with the state or county to maybe, and this would go, I would think honestly for Brindley as well as possibly Maine and Ocean, of maybe just doing where they can implant like the reflectors and the crosswalks, so that perhaps it just gives some, a little bit more visibility at night and possibly a slight means of slowing people down on those roads where everything's not always the best lit.
I like those suggestions.
So
Matt.
that's all for tonight. And yeah, truly appreciate everybody on their game. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have Julie Natitis?
We have Julie Natitis.
Yes, hi, Julie Nutitis of 605 Newark Avenue. Quick question about the church. I know that, people are asking about, the timely demolition of the church, and obviously we have to do everything legally and the right way. And the one thing that I haven't heard, and I would think that is something that is definitely a priority, yes, the artifacts, the grading, but what about the lovely critters that are all living in the church? How long does that take to rectify before we even demolish the building to make sure squirrels, birds, goodness only knows what else is in there? Because that really would affect the community. Because
Okay. With the RFP, it has that they will treat the building for the rodents before they tear it down. So
okay.
that's also included. Also with hazardous waste is also in there. So it's a step-by-step process, but that is already included in the RFP. That was an excellent question though. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, because I was just very concerned. I know everyone's saying, demolish, demolish, but there's so many steps that go into before you even demolish a building. So I definitely appreciate the attention to detail on all the necessary steps before it even is demolished. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're gonna do it correctly. We're gonna do it legally and we're gonna follow the rules. So any other questions? Oh, yes, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peter Sharp, 301 Second Avenue. Just one quick follow-up on the church discussion. I realize that we have to follow the legally defined process for disposing of the artifacts. Got it. And I understand we had to start the clock over again through the fault of nobody present in this room. Got it. But is there a time frame that we can establish when the clock runs out? Or are we totally driven by the arrival of potential bidders? Whether they come spring, summer, or fall, in order to dispose of these artifacts. That's all.
Yeah, the sooner the artifacts can be disposed of, the better. There is a time limit by which bids are received that you either have to award or.
60 days.
Or,
Yeah, until February 19th. But it's not clear that that bid that went out is really what the council wants. Because I don't believe it demolishes all the buildings, correct?
No,
It does, it does, yes.
Okay.
it does, but it didn't have.
It doesn't have a grading.
The
plan.
grading plan,
There were
yes.
things missing from that bid, it wasn't put together though. So, we may end up having to go out to bid to do it in a way that,
To get the grading plan in, we have to rebid it, so that's most likely what's
That
gonna
will
happen.
restart the clock yet again?
That would restart the clock. I mean, once you get a bid in, which we got them in December 20th, you have 60 days to award it. So we could re-advertise it and run that bid process again with the grading plan in it. To be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to talk to Ben and get to the bottom of that issue, but that is certainly.
So it would be 60 days following the issue of the revised grading plan.
Let me put it this way, the most important thing is that what the people want in this town, or what the council, the people that are elected here, like, that's what happens. So whether it's a grading plan, or it's all the buildings, or some of the building, however we're gonna do it, the people up here, we're all gonna stand here together and agree that this is what we're gonna do, and tell you what it is. That really didn't happen last time, and so now we're kind of in this limbo state where it's kind of good, but kind of doesn't match everything, everyone's concerns. And we just intend to open that up, to basically talk about it.
But when you're saying we have to wait, we don't have to wait 60 days once we award the RFP. If we say go ahead the next day, they could tear it down the following day. So we have up to 60 days to accept it. But right now, we can't accept it because the artifacts have to be dispersed legally.
The idea is to deal with these. If you talk about parallel tracks, you can get these artifacts done, and at the same time, we review
We
and
do
make
the
sure that this is what the
grading.
council wants. You get the artifacts out, and you bid at the same time, and then hopefully we get a good price again, we award it, the building goes down, it's graded. And then the site plan.
Processes, it's just a question of which one takes the longest.
Yeah, I mean, the longest part of it is it actually being something else. Right, because then we're gonna have to hold an auction and auction the properties off as lots, and then we don't really have any control as to when they build it. We can have control over what they build, but when they build it. And that's why people, I believe, are concerned about the grading, is because we don't control when something new would be built. We don't want water sitting in there, mosquitoes, all that sort of stuff. But that's the idea, run the parallel track, Mike's taking care of the artifacts. Ben and I have to get together and talk about the site plan and the demolition bid. And then ensure that the council is on board with all of that, and then we'll bring it back here, and it'd basically be the same thing you saw last time. It'll just, everyone will talk about it.
Yeah, it's not resolved whether or not we have to rebid it or not. We're looking at that currently. We may not have to rebid it, which would then save time on the one path. But then we still have the disposition of the artifacts on the second path, that we have to resolve that process, and then they come together.
Okay. All right, no answer to my question, but I understand the complexity, so what you're dealing with. Thank you.
We're trying to do this as quickly as possible.
And we'll have an update for you at the next council meeting as well.
Definitely. Anybody else? Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. Stay warm, stay healthy, and I'd like to make a motion that we close the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Hey, Ben.